their home and from somewhere else, remote access to the company corporate resources. So before that, I would like to do some introductions about SonicWall. I'm sure you all heard of SonicWall before. SonicWall is founded 1991, and today, this year is actually our 30 years of anniversary. So there's not a lot of a security vendor in the market with the 30 years of cybersecurity experience. So we are one of it. Headquarters is in California, and we have employed more than 1,600 employees. And this is our website. And we have more than 500,000 customers around the world. Like mentioned, we're more than 30 years of security focus. So we used to have famous for our firewall solutions, but today we are the cybersecurity company. So we have not only firewall, we have also the, like mentioned, secure remote access, email security, endpoint detection response, the next gen antivirus. We do also have a cloud protections, for example, our cloud applications security. And we do also have switch and other solutions as well, the secure switch. So we have customer more than around 200 countries, and we have 300 patents, and we shipped more than 3 million of firewall before. Of course, we are central, we are partner centric, right? We work with closely with our global channel partners. We have more than 17,000 of channel partners. So as you can see from the previous video, so we have announced that we have this mission, which is called Boundless Cybersecurity. We think that the cybersecurity solutions or cybersecurity world should be boundless without any limit, because the cybersecurity solutions should just extend to all the IT-related kind of solutions. So we have three major kind of principles. One is known the unknown, which we very focused on detecting the unknown attacks. We're using our Capture ATP, which is our advanced threat protection engine, and the RTTMI engine to detect those unknown attacks come to all our cybersecurity solutions. So we have this threat intelligence or our Capture Lab actually to have this capability to detect all the unknown traffic, unknown attack. Also, example, the latest ransomware attack or the latest vulnerability attack. Then we also have our unified visibility and control, which is our backend, the Capture Security Center, our central management, which allow you to configure, to view, and also to create some policy, security policy regarding the solutions, all in one single management portal, which is our CSC, Capture Security Center. Then we have also the another principle called disruptive economic, which we tend to provide the better value to our customers. For example, in firewall, our HA, the high availability package, which we charge only one set of subscription license rather than the other vendor probably charge you 2 sets for the HA. And our HA unit, the secondary firewall appliance also cheaper, probably around 30% compared to the primary unit. So that's why we provide the low TCO to our customer and also cost-effective solutions to all our customers as well. So as I mentioned, we not only having the network security, which is the firewall solutions, we have the email security, we have the secure mobile access, which is the remote access, the SSL VPN solutions to securely access to the corporate resources, which is the important one as today's situations. We have the cloud email protection for your O365, your Gmail, and also your other other SaaS applications. Then we have also the endpoint detection response, the EDR solutions, which is the next generation's antivirus for all the server PC. So it's a behavioral analysis engine, and it's very light and low impact to the PC performance, unlike the traditional signatures AV. And our solutions also protect our customer from the IoT attack. And also we do have a Wi-Fi solutions, secure Wi-Fi solutions today. And all these solutions, right, as mentioned, we prevent the unknown attacks to the customer's environment. As examples, you can see all the point of exposure below, like ransomware, phishing attack, or the vulnerability attack. So all kind of latest and greatest kind of attack, we also can able to protect our customer from all this point of exposure. And just to show you the what is our cyber threat report. So every year we release 2 versions of a cyber threat report, and this is the for this year 2021 H2. So as you can see here, the malware attacks are a little bit decreased, but those focused kind of attacks, for example, intrusion, cryptojacking, the encryption threat, and IoT attacks, all these are increasing. And especially, as you can see here, for 2020 and 2021, the ransomware attacks are coming back. So it's during our cyber threat report detections, we actually seen that the attacks are increased 151% in overall. So as you can see here, we can compare to the previous year, for example, 2019, 2020. As you can see here, 2021, as you can see, the increase is almost 2 to 3 times compared to the previous year. So this is between the January and June. So we will release our the next version of the cyber threat report probably the next quarter, and the time you can see the data from the second half of this year. But in overall, during the first half of 2021, there is a 151% of increase in terms of the ransomware. And as I mentioned, the ransomware attacks start increasing 2020, right? So during the 2020 report, Malaysia is actually one of the top 10 countries that we have detected, right? With most of the ransomware attack, as you can see the number here, about 3 million of the detections. So regarding the ransomware attack. So you can imagine how serious is the ransomware attack running across the regions, where also, of course, a lot of vulnerability, which will also create a lot of vulnerability attack towards our customer environment. And you may wonder how is the detections, or how is the is essential about our solutions to detect the ransomware or the latest malware, right? I'm sure you have heard of the ICSA lab, where they are the independent research organizations. So they have certified a lot of organizations regarding their security features or security solutions. So there is one certification which is called Advanced Threat Defense. So from this ICSA lab, and a lot of vendors actually participate into this ATD defense kind of certifications. So SonicWall also, and we have won 3 times a perfect score in a row for this year. So there is no other vendor able to achieve this result, which is with a 3 times kind of perfect score, which means 100% detections of all the unknown threat that used by the ICSA lab, 100% detections, right? As you can see here for this last detections or last certifications, which is 653 of unknown attacks or unknown sample set used by ICSA lab, and zero threat miss and 0 positive. So we have consistently achieved 3 times of this kind of a similar 100% detection result for three quarters in a row. So SonicWall is the only vendors able to achieve this one. And so this shows you actually how good is our detections regarding the unknown threat, right? How good is our capture ATP engine plus the RTTMI engines to prevent the customer from the latest ransomware, the vulnerability attack, and all the unknown virus kind of malware, and all the latest attack. So this is our ATP protections. So we have, of course, our capture lab with all the deep learning algorithm and all the malware artifacts, right? So with the 30 years of history, so we immediately know 99% of the traffic are known threat, 4 billion of it during the Q1 to Q3 2021. So of course, we know the known threat and then we block it, right? For example, the known ransomware and all those, we have the signature to block those 99% of it. Of course, there's always the unknown threat, which is new variants, newly created by the attack code. So they are 1% of it, which is 40 million during the Q1 to Q2 2021. And all this will send to our capture ATP. It's a multi-engine sandbox. So not only 1 engine, 2 engine, but it's a multi-engine sandboxing, which are capable of prevent those evasive malware as well. For example, those malware that are trying to hide themselves from the sandboxing solutions. So we're able to prevent those as well. Plus our RTTMI, which is the memory inspections engine. So we can quickly check the unknown threat, whether it's the good traffic or bad traffic. Of course, bad traffic we will block, good traffic we will release. So we have this feature called block until verdict. So until we detect it's a good traffic, we will only release the traffic or file to the customer's environment. If it's a bad, of course, we always block, and we won't simply release before checking or before determining this is good or bad. So this is overall how we actually detect our ATP capability. And this is in all our solutions, and then also supported by the CSC, our backend, which is our central management system for all our solutions, not only firewall, our endpoint, our email security, even our secure remote access solutions also having this capability. So I will start with the firewall. So with the firewall, some of you may know we have actually launched our latest generations, the generation 7 firewall. We have three different range. One is the TZAC, which is for the SMB and the branches. And then we have the NSA series, which is for the mid-range or the enterprise customer. And then we also have the data center firewall, which also completely launched during past few months. So we started at the last year, August, we launched our TZAC. And then until end of last year, we have completely launched all our TZAC series, right, from TZAC 270 to TZAC 670. And then starting this year, January, we start launch our NSA series. So, and also completely launch 5 model of all our NSA's firewall, right? And all these firewall not only come with the latest technologies, also come with the new OS, the OS 7. And of course, later we introduce more feature about the generation 7. And for the data center firewall, we actually have launched our biggest version of the firewall, which is for the data center for the large corporate or enterprise, which is 15,000 starting next year. And also, of course, we fully launched our Gen 7's virtual firewall, which is an SV series. And until today, we have launched completely all the data center or the large enterprise firewall, for example, the 10,000, 11,000, and 13,000. So today we have completely full launch our Gen 7 hardware and Gen 7 firewall in actually less than 1.5 years, 18 months. So regarding our TZAC firewall, like I mentioned, the performance increase, the hardware, the new hardware technology, and new OS. So what are the some of the features that new features that we introduced in our TZAC firewall, which is the expandable storage. So now we can actually increase the storage up to 256 gigabyte for some of the model. And then we have also multi-gigabyte interface support, and is TZAC's 570 and 670 is the first desktop form firewall with the 10 gigabyte interface support. So all these firewalls, some they come with 5G, 2.5G, 1G, and TZAC 570 and 670 come with 10G. And then we have also 3 times kind of performance increase. So compared to our previous generations, which is a 6.5 or 6 generation 6, the previous series of the TZAC firewall, and support the TLS 1.3, and of course the new OS and also the new UI. And then our NSA series also, of course, come with the superior technology, and all the performance is also 3 times kind of performance increase compared to the previous generations. And as you can see, more of the port density, as you can see here. So of course, the range from 2,700 up to 6,700. And again, our NSSP model. So NSSP model is a little bit special. So only there's one unit come with a 2U kind of form factor, and then the rest are still 1U and with the high performance. So some of the firewall even come with 100 gig of the port, right? And then multi-instant firewall supported in the 15,000 series. And then later in the roadmap, we will introduce this multi-instant firewall to all our NSSP series, but this is under the roadmap. Then of course the new hardware, the new OS, and also the groundbreaking performance. And this is the features in summary regarding the new firewall, new generation firewall. Like mentioned, the 100 gigabyte or the 10 gigabyte or 40 gigabyte of the interface, right? All support through all the firewall. Of course, especially the NSA and also the NSSP series come with the, of course, the high connections kind of interface. And then we support also the SD branch. So SD branch, which is the solutions introduced by SonicWall, which we consist a few of our solutions. So we bring them together and leverage on the zero touch or the central management and also the SD-WAN solutions we have, and then we form as the SD branch solutions. For example, the firewall, switch, the Wi-Fi, the cloud applications security, then the EDR solutions. So all this is very suitable for all the small size kind of environment. For example, the branches, the retail, right? They need to have the central management control for all their branches firewall. Then they also need to have the SD-WAN to control the application performance and also the consistency of the applications between the HQ and the branches. So we have this SD branch solution supported in all our firewall. And then the single pane of glass management, which is the central management. If you have a few offices, you have a few branches that you cannot be managing the firewall one by one, we support the central management solutions or support in one single place. Of course, with the reporting and also the visibility and all the control. And then the wireless support. And then the more of the integrations with the capture client, which is our EDR solutions, the switch and also the AP. And like mentioned, it's a built-in storage and also capable to expand the storage. And then most of the firewall also come with the redundant power support, right? Some come with even 3 power. And then a high port density, like mentioned, SFP, PoE support, and then the USB 3.0 support. The new OS, new UI. So later I'll show you some screenshot. Then the TLS kind of the 1.3 support. And the very easily to onboard the firewall, even you are in the branches, only with some of the staff probably with some IT knowledge, they can even onboard the firewall with the zero touch. And now there's another choice called Sonic Express app, which you can download the app from the App Store, and then you can do some onboarding, start registering the firewall, then do some basic configuration as well for the firewall. Then the zero touch deployments, as always, supported in all the firewall, SD-WAN. So SD-WAN, there's no extra charges, come with the firewall package and the firewall subscriptions. So when you have the subscriptions package with your HQ firewall and your branches firewalls, then you can start leveraging SD-WAN. Without using the expensive MPLS internet connections, you can use the 3G, 4G kind of the unified kind of the internet connections to maximize the connections to have the consistent kind of application performance. Then up to 3 times of the performance increase from all the Gen 7 model versus the Gen 6 model. High performance threat protections as always. So our firewall SonicWall solutions come with the high performance threat protections. So which threat protection is the most important throughput in the firewall solutions, where you will turn on the security services, and that's where the threat protections throughput to be you need to see the threat protection throughput for that. And then up to more of the connection count increase in the Gen 7 firewall, fast DPI, and also the low TCO, as I mentioned, for the HA package. So, yep, just to show you that compared to the previous generations, right? So some of the, take example of the TZ model, as you can see, TZ 500 compared to TZ 570 or TZ 600 compared to TZ 670. Then we have the 3 times kind of performance compared to the previous generations. And you may wonder, how is it compared to the firewall in the market, right? So all other firewall vendor. So first, I show you the TZ generation 7 firewall with the threat performance, right? As you can see, all this screen is actually our model, and all these are actually all other model in the market, which is an equivalent model, and in the equivalent pricing, right? So all, as you can see, all our pricing is, if it's not lower, but it's also equivalent to all the model in the market. But our threat performance is a lot better than those other solutions in the market. As you can see, take the TZ 670, so we support between 2 to 3 threat preventions throughput, gigabyte throughput, but the rest of the model in the market cannot support this much of the threat prevention throughput. Same as the NSA model. So as you can see, NSA from NSA 2700 to 6700, right? The new Gen 7 model. So in the same range of the model, we have a lot better threat prevention throughput, but the pricings are on par with the other model in the market. And same for the NSSP model. So NSSP models are 10,000, 11,000, 13,000. Sorry, the play functions. So as you can see, also we are far more better than the rest of the model in the market for the threat prevention throughput, as also the 13,000 and also the 15,000, as you can see here. And this is the UI for the new firewall, which you can see we have changed completely the UI, how you manage the firewall compared to the previous generations. So now all the settings are categorized here. And then all the settings are the related setting on under each of the tab is under here. And this way you can see this is this one screenshot for the summary. Of course, there's a lot of others configurations in this new UI. And as mentioned, new UI and all this SonicOS is actually API-based design, which is very easy to integrate with third-party solution when needed. And then all this Gen 7 OS is come with the single architecture platform and also the unified code base, which means given our engineering team very easily to provide the firmware or the fixes or any support required regarding the OS. So we can do that very quickly compared to the previous generation because it's all unified code base. So which means you provide the firmware fixes to it just very easily with one single code base rather than a different model. You have a different kind of coding for the OS model. So it's very easy for our engineering team today to support or to provide the firmware, provide the bug fixes and all that. And the Sonic Express app, where you can download from the App Store or the Google Play, is apps that install in your mobile you can do the onboarding for your device. Just plug the USB cables to the mobile and the firewall, and that's where you can already register, set up, and do some basic configurations from the app itself. So it's very easy for you to onboarding the devices. And with the NSSP model, right? So like mentioned, we have the multi-instance support, right? So our way of doing multi-instance different from other competitors. So what we do is we completely isolate, or we have a dedicated resources, the hardware resources towards a different firewall that you configure. For example here, firewall 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have a dedicated memory and also the CPUs to this firewall. So in case of any failure to these hardware resources, it will only impact firewall 2, but not the rest of the other firewall. And compared to others, right, they have the share memory or share hardware kind of resources. One is down, then it actually impact the whole of the multi-tenant firewall. That's the our multi-instance concept. And like mentioned, the SD branch solutions, right? So all solutions control via the central management, where it's very easily for you to configure, to view, to having the single kind of policy to configure for across all the solutions for the branches or for the offices that you have. For example, this combination of a few of our solutions, for example, the firewall, right? The TZ firewall for branch, the NSA firewall for HQ. Then you probably have O365 or GSIP running, and then you have some of the cloud applications. So we have the cloud app security to protect those. And then to onboard the firewall is very easily. You can use the zero-touch deployment, so to onboard the firewall. And then you can leverage on the SD-WAN in between the HQ and the branches for the applications consistency and the connections. Then you probably need some switch to your branches for some of the device connections, right? And then a access point, we do not have these solutions in Malaysia, but then we do have access point solutions. And then also the capture client, which is for your PC and your server for the last layer of defense, right? For your laptop, for the antivirus, next-gen antivirus solutions for the PC and also the server. And beside the ICSA labs certifications, how good is regarding our ATP, right? You have got the 100% detections for unknown traffic. And we also have this certification from NextSec Open, which is the also an independent research organization who focus on firewalls testing. So as you can see here, so SonicWall and 3 other brands actually submit to the first versions of the research or testing. So SonicWall, this is regarding the vulnerability attack. So as you can see here, the orange color is for the NOWS or the public kind of a CVE, which is the vulnerability attack. And then Nextset Open have got also some of the private kind of unannounced kind of vulnerability, right? They test against these solutions, and SonicWall have got the 99% for the public vulnerability attack to prevent the 99% of the vulnerability attack. And then 100% detection for the private, which is unannounced kind of a vulnerability attack. So as you compare to other solutions, they probably have got 94, 95 kind of scoring, and which means our solutions is better in terms of detecting the vulnerability attack. As you know, most of the attack today, cybersecurity attack today, rely on the vulnerability to attack to your environment. And why is it our solutions is highlighted here? Because as compared to other solutions, per gigabyte protections, the cost you need to pay per gigabyte protections, which is our solutions is lower compared to the rest of the solutions in the market. So of course, these are not the same range kind of solutions, but then the concept is the same. So how much you need to pay to protect the per gigabyte kind of a throughput or the traffic, right? So ours is lower. That's why we are highlighted here. And furthermore, this is the detections as I mentioned. And each of the firewall vendor, they also claim the what are the throughput they can protect in their data sheet, right? So of course, this is purely depends on they will probably use some methodology, but then it's purely depends on the result announced by the vendor. So what we claim in our data sheet is 2.5 gigabyte protection for the HTTP. What is tested from this Nextset Open, we overachieve it with 3.4. And same for the HTTPS traffic, we also overachieve it. But as compared to the other vendor, as you can see, probably they say 19, but then they actually provide you only 11 kind of throughput protections. So where we have more consistency regarding what we have claimed in our data sheets regarding the throughput. And another report is called TOLI report. So it's TOLI also one of the organization who actually comparing the solutions in the market. So this is the TOLI report regarding our Gen 7 2700 firewall compared to Fortinet 100F. They compare the features, the cost that need to pay for these equivalent solutions. As you can see here, so to pay, and this is actually measured in the standby and primarily standby, which is the active standby kind of deployment, the HA. So the total cost of ownership for the HA, we are actually lower than compared to the Fortinet 100F, because Fortinet have to pay more for the secondary devices. Of course, this is in USD, but then this gives you the overall concept of we are in subscription package are on par, right? The security features, everything's are on par. Throughput are quite similar. So of course, we are battles in terms of the traffic throughput. But then the cost to pay for this is actually regarding SonicWall is the total cost of ownership is lower compared to Fortinet equivalent solution. And just to give you a bit of the comparison between the different firewall vendors, so like mentioned, we have 4 engines, right? We have multi-engine sandboxing, which we provide better kind of the protections in terms of unknown malware detections. And then, of course, this is on par, which all the vendors also provide the AV and the spyware, IPS, and the spam and all that, except Palo Alto is not providing the anti-spam. In terms of the antivirus, the gateway antivirus scanning file size, so we support unlimited file size, but some of the vendors, they probably support 10 meg by default, 20 meg by default, so it's not more than 10 meg, more than 20 meg, they are stop scanning. But we actually provide the unlimited kind of AV scan file size. Then the block until verdict, so some vendor has it, that's good. And then the single management platform, most have it, that's good. For the low TCO for the HA, right, the active standby kind of HA environment, so we charge only 1 set. So most of the other vendor will charge you 2 sets for the subscription, which is the cost is higher. Then the Nextset Open result and the ICSA testing result, right? So some we are the good one in terms of the Nextset Open report and the ICSA. So of course there's like mentions different kind of certifications, firewall, enterprise firewall, AV, and all that. So we have got 3. Some maybe they have a few. And then the NSS lab. So in NSS lab is already stopped providing the report, right? So the organization is terminated or stopped already. But then in terms of the security value mapping, right? So then we are actually in the security map value map or 7 times as compared to others. They have the most of the security value map certified. Then the OS vulnerability, right? So regarding the Sonic OS, so we also have the less kind of a vulnerability as compared to other vendors, which means we don't need to regularly patch the firewall or the OS for the vulnerability kind of attack. So I will move on to the SMA, which is the secure mobile access solutions, which is critical today or important today. As examples to access to the corporate resources, right? So how you actually make sure that all the remote users or remote devices connecting to your environments, and then you actually secure them, and then you verify the device, you verify the user before allow them to access to your environment. Right. So SMA, secure mobile access, is actually any device, anytime, anywhere, or anyone trying to access your corporate environment. So we provide the secure access to it. So like mentioned, anywhere, anytime, secure access. The full or permissible kind of access to the company resources, the data or resource or applications, whether it's you host on the on-prem, cloud, or hybrid data center. Then the multi-layer kind of multiple access layer security, which is like the MFA, and then the policy support, also the authentication support towards all the corporate resources. And then the one of the important features, right, known the unknown, which is they provide the ATP protections against all the file that, for example, upload from your remote user. So when they upload, probably you have a partner uploading some file to your environment, you have customer, you have a remote user uploading some file, but then those files can be malicious to your environments. And that's where you need the ATP scanning to do all those file upload. And the choice of the physical, virtual, or cloud deployment. So not only physical, we have also support the public cloud, the AWS, Azure, or private cloud, probably the VMware or the Hyper-V. And newly support the KVM as well. So what does it help you to secure or zero trust access? So SMA is a zero trust access solutions for the environment. So we used to secure only one single central kind of environment, right, which is the HQ. Then now the perimeter is everywhere, which means the access can be from anywhere, BYOD, remote user, or partner. So that's where you need to start secure all your perimeter, not only one, not only central's HQ to have the security. So you need to actually provide the zero trust kind of access to all your users to before the access to your environment. And then we have, like mentioned, the first few slides, right? So there's a lot of explosion of exposure point. So a lot of, because you have a broader kind of access from anywhere, right? So can be from cloud, can be from your remote user, which means there's also more way for the attacker to attack to your environment. So that's where you also need to protect your environment from all this kind of exposure point. And how do you protect your user from the account being compromised? Because now it's more important that you keep your user's ID or password safe, right? Because they can access from anywhere. So what if the attacker compromise one of the account? Basically, they have the access to your whole of your corporate resources. And today's malware is no longer the viruses, the spyware, right? So it's actually more advanced kind of malware. For example, the latest ransomware, the vulnerability attack, the fileless attack. So how you actually secure your environment from the unknown or the unknown attack. And then what if one of the your HQ access is down? So how do you actually provide another access to make sure your business continue running, right? To make sure that the business is not disrupted. So how do you make sure that to actually prevent those kind of emergency event to actually impact your business continuity? So that's where you need to consider as well. So for the SMA, the zero trust access solutions, which this is in overall the diagram. It's a bit busy, but then let's start from the left side. So which is the user side. So which a user will use either the clientless access, which is without the agent. So they access via the browser, any HTML5 browser, and then they also can have the client installed in the laptop in order to access to the resources. So can be any client, can be any OS, Windows, Mac, or iOS, or whatever. Then, of course, there is IDP or NMFA or SSO kind of access, right? We support this third-party kind of identity software. So also the endpoint compliance. So to check the endpoint, any of the endpoint accessing to the environment, whether they are comply with your, for example, install with the AV or not. Probably you have certain kind of AV install in your environment, but you want to make sure that this PC, before access to the your environment, the PC is probably probably secure and then install with the patch with the latest OS, install with the updated AV or the EDR or any kind of program that you want the PC installed before access to it, just to make sure they are comply with your security policy or your security standard. And then they access to the SMA, right? That's where we do all the verifications for the user, for the device, for the account, everything. And then we have the central management server to control the different set of SMA, right? If you have 2 unit, 3 unit, 100 unit, so it all can be controlled via the central management server. So in terms of the HA or the active kind of environment, and then provide the zero trust access to all your user, right? That's where you do the configurations and admin and all those authentications control via the CMS, and access to your on-prem resources, be it or SaaS or the cloud resources. So any kind of resources you want to allow the users to remove to by group, by different kind of level, partner, customers, or remote users. So those also can be configured via the CMS or the SMA. Then, like mentioned, we have the physical hardware, the hardware appliances, and also the VMware support, Hyper-V support for the virtual applications or the public cloud, AWS, and also the Azure. So we have 2 series. One is a SMA 100 series, and then the 1000 series, same for the virtual and the public cloud. Only the 100,000 series come with the global load balancing or the traffic optimizations or the active kind of high availability and the zero impact failovers towards the different kind of appliance hosted in your environment. And why we need the CMS? CMS is basically the central management server to control all the SMA, all the 1000 series SMA. So can be 6200, 7200, or the 8200, which is the virtual appliance. So it can be a mix of all these appliance and control via the CMS. So we have one customer, actually, they have 200,000 of employee actually remote working. So it's one of the big 4 company or one of the big 4 customer. So they actually leverage on our SMA solutions. So you can imagine that our SMA solution is truly enterprise solutions. Or of course, we have SMB series of the SMA as well. But then this is very scalable up to 100 unit of the SMA, which theoretically 1 million of concurrent user can be supported via the CMS and also the SMA. And like mentioned, we have the SMB or the different series of the SMA, right? So these are actually SMA 200, 400 or 500 actually for the SMB kind of business. Then we have the enterprise 6,000, 8,000 or 7,000. So of course the concurrent user support from 100 to 10,000. And then with, like mentioned, with the CMS, right, can support more than 20,000 and above, because one CMS can control up to 100 unit of the SMA series, SMA 1000 series. So if it's 100 unit of 7,000, which mean 10,000 times 100, which is 1 million of users. So which one is better? So if you allow your users connect through the remote, right? So to SSL VPN or any kind of a VPN to your environment, you open up all the access to the users, or of course you only open the certain resources which is provide the least control or least privilege access to the users to the only resources which is required. So this way you can limit these users to access to all whole network resources in your environment. Even compromise also the attacker cannot to jump from here and there because only able to access to one dedicated resources. So of course this way is much better. and it's better that we comply to the least privilege kind of access, right? Not open up all the access to the remote user. And then with the single sign-on feature, so you can actually once sign into the SMA, you can access to all the cloud applications or the on-prem applications. So any kind of resources that you want to open for this user, just one single sign-on to all this. Then we support the TOTP, which is the one-time password. And we support the generic kind of the authenticator, Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, or Dual Mobile. If you use any IDP identity provider, so we support the Azure, Okta, one login, and Ping Identity. This is for the MFA login. Then we also, of course, uploading the file to the environment could be dangerous, right? Because you do not know what file actually uploaded by the users to your environment. That's where you require the malware scanning or the ITP protections against all this file upload to your environment. Run it and scan it via the sandbox before you trust them and you allow them to upload to the environment. Then we have the always on VPN, which deliver the in-office kind of experience. So it's like how your users are using the laptop in their offices. So they just open the laptop, the username and password when already enter, right? So just enter one time, all right? After that, is always remember in the applications. So they just open the laptop and then access to the corporate resources, how they access in their office environment, like via the internal network. So that's how easy they always on VPN if the users, for example, remote working in some other places. So how easy for them to actually, for you also to enforce the security for them easily to access to the resources available to them. Then we have the high availability and then also the traffic optimizations for the 1000 series. So all these users actually, we charge only the concurrent user. So for example, if you have different region kind of office, right? This hour probably this office require more user, and next hour the other office probably require more user. So that's way how you can very flexible to adjust the license in between the different offices, where we charge only the concurrent kind of user access, not the name account or not the total user. And some of the comparison between the our secure mobile access solutions with others, right? So we support the global HA, the capture ATP, the centralized license pooling, then the traffic optimizations. That's what our unique features compared to other solutions in the market. And then the rest of it, probably the firewall kind of the SSL VPN, but then we provide the dedicated kind of access or the SSL VPN solutions without any impact to the firewall performance. That's the beauty of our SMA solutions. Of course, and all sort of the compliance, the policy control you can have via the SMA solution. That's all from me. Any questions or anything? So any question you might have, you can type them into the chat box. I can try to answer them. If not, we can get your detail. I can provide the answer to you via email. Or probably you can also email me if you need any kind of, you have any kind of questions that in future you want to ask.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ken. So is there anyone have any questions here? You can just type in or you can open your mic and speak to Mr. Ken. Yes, you are welcome to do that. We will also send the recording and the presentation slide later after this webinar. So if you have any questions after this, you can also email to us or you can email to Mr. Ken. Okay. I think so far no questions from the floor. If no, Mr. Ken, is there anything that you want to add on?
No, thanks all for joining. I have typed my email in the chat box. So in case in future you have any questions or anything you would like to ask regarding our solutions, not only the firewall or not only the SMA. So like mentioned, we have all other cybersecurity solutions as well. So thank you for your time again, and take care.
Yes, thank you everyone. We shall end the webinar here. So feel free to WhatsApp, email us, or so just give us a call if you have any questions. Thank you everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.